Welcome to Success Superstars, episode number 227. It's your place for the blueprint of success for peak performers just like you. And my special guest today, Jenna Harris. Jenna, welcome.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me, Mark. Thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah, well, thank you for all that you do. You know, we've got a lot to unpack because not only are you in the top 1% of all agents in our network, I mean, being in the top 1% of anything is a big deal. But you're a mother, you're a wife, you're an entrepreneur, you volunteer in the community. You know, you have so much going on. We just want to unpack it all.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm down with it. It's not perfect, but
well, my favorite quote is perfection is not a standard, progress is.
Absolutely. Right? Yes.
So I guess let's just start. How did it all start? How did you decide to launch a real estate sales business?
I mean, it has been, I remember, I was in ballroom dancing, and I think we've talked a little bit about that before. And I was in sales for that ballroom dance studio, and I was actually doing really well, but I just didn't see myself doing that with a family. I didn't see myself doing that long term. And I went to a real estate investment seminar, and I thought, wow, this could be something that could be a legacy for my family. I really at that time discovered I wanted freedom of time. And instead of doing crazy real estate investment seminar guru school, I said, I'm going to get a real estate license, and I'm going to use the skills that I have to build essentially a legacy business for my family. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I didn't have a family. I wasn't even engaged yet. So this is me thinking really, really far ahead at 25 years old. And now 9 years later, I look back and I am a totally different person. And a lot of the lessons that I have learned about myself, about humanity, about the world, has been a result of basically doing life as a real estate agent, as a business owner, really. Mm-hmm. And going through most of life's crazy phases, and running a business at the same time. It has been crazy.
What was
crazy.
What was the hardest part?
Gosh, that's such a good question. I think the hardest part was actually when it came time for me to, I'm a perfectionist. I think we've talked about that before. And I am one of those people. There's really two kinds of people, and one person has to discover how to find their drive. And then the other person has this innate drive. Mm-hmm. And for many, many years, sorry, I have my little oil thing going over here and it's like blowing steam in my face.
That's okay.
For many years, I could not figure out why I was so driven. And the hardest part of this process for me, hands down, was when I became a mom. Because it changed who I was as a human being. And there was this other person that I was now responsible for that literally I'd lay down my life for. And my identity kind of had a crisis. Mm-hmm. Because for many, many years, probably 3 or 4 years of his life, I could not figure out how to be present in both my business and motherhood and wife and friend and all these different roles that we have in life. And that change of my identity was definitely the hardest thing that I went through in business and probably in my life at this point.
So people who have a W-2 job, you know, maybe they're on a salary, they can take personal time off, they can take disability leave, they have all these benefits. You don't have those as an independent business owner. How do you work through life yet continue to drive an income so you can feed your family?
Yeah, I think actually in a way, my success is partly attributed to the fact that we don't have a safety net. Like, this is it. I mean, and yes, we're building our retirement and saving, etc., but this is it for us. We don't have one of us doesn't have a W-2 job. We're both business owners, me and my husband. And so this, in a way, I didn't have a choice but to keep, going. And I think in a way that was a huge blessing. Because I can pass the lessons that I've learned on to other people, but it was very, very challenging. I did not even take 24 hours off for maternity leave. I had transactions closing when I had my son. And that, if looking back, I did not think that I had the option to rest and to take care of myself. And I look back on that and I now know that I did have that option. I was making great money and I could have said no. I could have taken fewer clients, but at the time, when I was referencing my identity kind of shift, it was a surprise pregnancy. I did not know I could have children. So it was a huge blessing. But it was a huge shock, and it was an air quote on my timeline. So here we go. We're doing this.
But you learned the hard way that you could have taken the time if you made the choice.
Yes.
And now you're a lot more intentional about how you spend your time, your money, your energy. You're very intentional. Now, getting in the top 1% of anything is tough. Did that just happen by chance, or is it just a result of your drive and doing the fundamentals every single day?
So there is drive involved, and you have to have that. I tell people, I think there's actually probably a recipe here somewhere. Whether I actually put the recipe in eloquent words today or not, I'm not sure. But I've been thinking a lot about this lately because, I have a team and I do some coaching. And I have a desire to pass along what I have learned to other people. And you can't really do that well if you can't really put your finger on it in a way that is digestible. And so drive has something to do with it. Also, I'm always afraid. I'm afraid and nervous just like anybody else is. And month to month, I'm just like any other agent, whether they're doing 100 times better than me or they're brand new. I'm nervous when I talk to new people on the phone. But the thing is, all of us have fear. All of us have doubts and insecurities. But my way kind of getting over that and continuing on with that drive is I do not wait for motivation to come. If you can listen to something, pump yourself up in the morning, exercise, do breathing exercises, meditate or pray or read your Bible or read whatever it is that makes you can pump yourself up, but there are days you are just not going to be motivated and you have to do it anyway. And the thing that has helped me not wait for motivation and also overcome my fear is the same thing. And that is, it's a very short checklist. If you have integrity and you know what you're doing, or you can go to somebody who does know what they're doing for new folks, you are the cream of the crop in this industry. And you are doing consumers a disservice not to help them.
Love it.
Because there are people out there taking advantage of clients in this market and in this industry. There are people out there who are so shady, and there are people out there who probably have integrity but don't know what the heck they're doing. So if you don't know what you're doing yet and you're new, you have help at JPAR, and you have help. I think other agents are probably watching this too.
Yeah.
Find somebody who can help you, because if you can tick off that list, you can overcome any fear, any doubts, because you are going to treat people right.
Yeah. I love it.
And that is something a lot of other people are not doing. And that puts you at the top.
Yeah. Now, Jenna, if there was one tool, one resource, one thing that I took away from you, whether it's a JPAR provided tool or MLS or any tool in your tool bag that that I took away from you that you didn't want to lose, what would it be?
Oh man.
Besides
Oh,
the
that's a great
MLS.
question.
Besides the MLS.
Besides the MLS, yeah.
Right.
A tool.
Would it be your CRM,
I
your...
think it would be the ability to be self-aware.
Oh.
I think that's something I could recommend some books for, actually, that have really helped me over the years. I run into a lot of people and I hear a lot of excuses or insecurities or doubts, and the step, literally knowing yourself, knowing your personality type, your strengths, your weaknesses. You know, there are a lot. I mean, every guru on the corner is going to try and help you learn how to do business one way, and that's just go harder, work harder. And honestly, in the last 18 months, for entrepreneurs, this is getting a little dark and I'm sorry, but this is how seriously I take this. For entrepreneurs, 2 of them were clients and 2 of them were people in the real estate investment industry, took their own lives. And that really shook me to the core, and it kind of helped me realize that there's a couple different ways to do business, and one of them is just to work harder and go. But let me tell you, life is passing you by when you do that. Right. And your kids and your wife and your family and your friends, they are sitting on the bench watching you play a game that's glorifying yourself when you do that. And I'm preaching to the choir here because this is what I did before my identity shifted too. And however, you can work smarter if you become self-aware of what your strengths are and how to communicate to people and how to really, really get to know yourself. Admitting that you have things that you need to work on is strength. I know there's a lot of gurus out there who teach, like, make a list of all the things that you want to be and, you know, say them out loud. And that is good. And I do that too. I call them I ams. But you need to work on yourself. And you need to be honest with yourself.
And part of that self-awareness is just being comfortable in your own skin, right? You know, the people you meet that are comfortable in their own skin, and those who are maybe trying to fake it till they make it, or you can see through that because you have a high EQ. What has that self-awareness done to you in business? Does that make you relate better to your clients, serve them better, have more empathy?
100%. Yes. Yeah. Also, when you learn about yourself, once you've I always say, if you want to lead someone else, and that's what business ownership is, you are leading other people. You've got to lead yourself well first. And you can't do that unless you know yourself, just like you can't lead your client well unless you know them. And absolutely, it makes me more empathetic. And it also makes me more patient and more willing to listen. And, you know, people at the end of the day don't want to hear about how great you are. They want to hear, they want to tell you what's going on with their lives and their goals. And once you know yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, you might be the personality type. Like, I am extremely impatient. And I say that slowly because I literally am not the kind of personality type that typically does some of the things that I do to help it's not typical of me. It's not natural for me to do some of the things that I do for clients, especially that communicate differently than I do. But your client needs to be heard. Your client, you need to be real with them, human with them, authentic with them. And if you know yourself, you're also going to know, oh, I'm extremely impatient. What does impatience do? It talks over people sometimes. It rushes to the point. Impatience can come across also as very harsh and unfeeling. And, you know, I have had to have people tell me, hey, sometimes I just think you don't care about me. And I'm like, no, I want to solve your problem. I want to help you, like, now, you know, and it's not clients, thank God. But people just in my life that I know personally. And I'm like, oh gosh, you're right. Like, I have to slow down, and I have to listen, and I have to be patient.
Well, you and I know through leadership training and experience that the most successful leaders, coaches, influencers listen 75% of the time and only talk 25, right? So it's when we have that ratio, things work. Well, as we wrap up this episode, Jenna, congratulations on your success. Thanks for sharing some of these things with our audience. What's one thing you'd like to leave with the audience as we wrap up today?
Oh, goodness. One thing is take a second, find a program to get to know your personality type. I would highly recommend that. It's not just recommending. I literally tell people, even if you are already dang good at what you do, you will be so much better once you get to know yourself, because and once you understand other people's personality types too. So I'd highly recommend go online, literally take a personality type quiz, maybe read some books about how to really find your purpose. Kazone is one thing that I have done. It is kind of a religious based book, but it is phenomenal. And figure out what it is, what purpose you have, and identify your strengths and weaknesses, know what they are, and then really live in that purpose. And it's also going to help you overcome a lot of excuses, a lot of fear, a lot of doubts, because you're going to know who you are after you sit down and take a really deep dig. And I think that you'll find yourself much better for doing that. So
love it. So whether it's the DISC profile, the 5 love languages, or here at JPAR, you can go to jparcode.com and take a unique bank code. It's going to take you 90 seconds to get your bank code, and we'll send you a free report of your entire personality profile and how to deal with others. And
I did that, and it was awesome.
Yeah, jparcode.com, and the book that goes along with it, Why They Buy. And so, Jenna, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on your success, and we'll see you soon.
All right, see you soon.
There we go. That's a wrap for this episode of Success Superstars. Until we see you again, may your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears.